Okay, I know it's been a while, but this is the Chapter 2 audiobook. And this is probably how I'm going to be adding Starless Dusk from now on, because I despise typing, and I would let someone type it for me. But if I showed you the written copy of Starless Dusk compared to the typed copy, they're completely two different things. I change things. It's like when I type, I edit. And I can't have someone typing me because they're not going to know what to do. So, here we go. Make sure it stays recording. Okay. Sorry. Starless Dusk, Chapter 2. The In-Laws. The rest of the Cullen clan lived down the road. Their house was the largest by far. It was almost 6 times the size of Dylan and my house. It was modern and new, with its boxy shapes and glass walls. It did not belong here. It definitely belonged in the hills of L.A. Wow, it's beautiful, I gawked. My parents built it when they moved here a year ago. My mother, Esme, designed it, Albert explained. She designed it? I gasped. She's very talented, Bella added. All right, let's go inside, Edward said quietly. Okay, Bella said softly. She grabbed my hand and squeezed it. She led me to the front door. The house was just as beautiful on the inside as the outside. It appeared that there was no one there. Then I heard footsteps coming from upstairs. Then came the sound of 2 people arguing about who won some type of game. I clearly owned your existence, screamed a small voice. Alice, you cheated! You could see what I was going to do. Rematch. Right now, a husky voice yelled. Bella laughed. Down here, Edward called. The man and the woman ran downstairs. The man was very tall with dark, curly hair. He was muscular and intimidating. The woman was short, barely 5'11". She had short, spiky black hair, and she was very pixie-like. Hey, the girl sang. I'm Alice. You must be Jillian and Deanna. Alice walked over and hugged me. I had to kind of squat to hug her. She reached up to hug Dylan, and then she floated over to Nessie and hugged her. She greeted everyone else except Jacob, and I didn't understand why. I met it. I know. I'm big, strong, but don't be scared. Emmett said while flexing his muscles. Bella laughed, yet again. She beat you, Emmett. I know she did it, fair and square. Bella laughed. No, she cheated. Rematch. Tonight, Alice, Emmett growled. Bella laughed louder. Right. After we have our arm wrestling rematch, you right? She laughed. I'll win, by the way, she added cunningly. Please. You might have won that one time, but you won't win again. Especially now, Emmett egged. We'll see. Bella snickered. This was going well, Jacob said in a cocky voice. Nessie elbowed him. He didn't flinch. How about we meet the rest of the family? Edward's elbow breaking the awkward silence. By the way, Rose and Jazz went hiking, Emmett added. Okay, Bella said. She pulled my hand and led me into what seemed like a living room. There was a caramel-colored haired woman with golden eyes waiting for us. She spun around and smiled. She greeted Edward and Bella. Nessie ran to her and gave her a kiss. You must be Esme, I concluded. Very good. You must be Gianna, she said in a motherly tone. She was sweet. I'd never met anybody so sweet in my life. A tall blond man walked into the room. Carlisle! Nessie yelled as she ran to him. Hey, kiddo, he said in a smooth velvet voice. He had the looks of a model. His golden eyes matched the rest of the Cullens. He walked over to me and Dylan. Hello, I'm Dr. Cullen, but just call me Carlisle, he said while shaking my hand. A handshake to Dylan followed. Gianna, and this is my boyfriend Dylan, I said. Not for long, Alice said lowly. I laughed, thinking she was joking. Edward mouthed her name. She giggled. By the way, Jasper is my husband and Rosalie is Emmett's wife. They're twins. They hike a lot because their parents used to take them hiking before they died, Alice said with a giggle. Oh, so how you are related? I asked. Esme chuckled. Esme and Carlisle are me and Emmett's biological parents. They adopted the twins when they were younger, Edward explained. But Emmett's hair is so dark, and you all have the same colored eyes, I said without thinking how rude that was. Emmett dyes his hair, yeah, don't ask why, and Esme and Carlisle went to the adoption agency. They adopted the twins because they had the same colored eyes as us. Alice married him, but, we love her just as much, Edward said with a smile. Oh, I answered. Alice!" Nessie screamed enthusiastically. "What, Ness?" she asked with a smile. "We're having a sleepover at Gianna's house for my birthday," Nessie said loudly and redirected her attention to me. "Alice is an excellent party planner and a kick-butt cosmetologist," she explained. "You're making me blush, Ness," she giggled. Edward and Bella giggled too. "You and, Rosalie are invited too, Esme," Nessie said happily. She floated toward Alice and hugged her. "Sounds like it'll be fun, Esme said. "Woot! Guys night football! Oh man, prepare to be dominated!" Emmett said as he clapped his hands and jumped. It reminded me of the touchdown dance. I laughed. "Darling, you're welcome to join us while we let the girls have their fun," Carlisle said. "Sure, I'll bring pizzas. We're gonna party hardy on Nessie's birthday, I presume?" Dylan asked. "Yeah, but at night, 'cause I want the day with my girl," Jacob said while his face softened. It was clear to see that Jacob was totally in love with Renesmee, even if he was at least 10 years older than her. Nessie smiled and blushed. Edward sighed. Bella elbowed him. Nessie made her way into Jacob's arms. He kissed the top of her head, and then Edward growled. I don't know if Edward was really protective of Renesmee, or if he despised Jacob. I stared at him, and decided it was both. "Well, we'll have all day with her, Jacob. She is all of our family," Bella reminded him. Edward grew calmer. I'm okay as long as I get to be the center of attention," Nessie laughed. "You're the exact opposite of your mother in that way, Ness," Alice said. The Cullens laughed, but Bella's eyes widened. She said, changing the subject. "How about we take a tour of the rest of the house?" I actually am supposed to pick up my car today," Dylan explained. "Excellent," Alice yelled. "We'll let the boys go get Dylan's car while us girls go pick out new PJs for Nessie's party." I want to come too, even if it makes me a girl. You know, my hair's long enough," Jacob laughed. Nessie laughed too, as did I. Jacob had the longest hair I'd ever seen. It wasn't really that long, it's just that I was used to Dylan's short hair. And his hair wasn't even that short. It could be described as like skater hair, but it was at least 1.5 feet shorter than Jacob's. Okay, I said. "I'll see you later, baby. I love you." Dylan said while he took me in his arms and kissed me gently. "I love you too," I said while catching my breath. "I have myself if you need me," he said, releasing his grip around my waist. "I have mine too," I said. Edward walked over to Bella. "I'll be back, love," he said in his velvet voice. Edward had this way about him, and although he was my brother-in-law, he kind of dazzled me. He was like perfect, and made me feel weak when he spoke to Bella. It also made me feel really guilty. "I know, I love you," Bella answered. She whispered something into her hair. I guess it was an audible "I love you too." He walked over to Ness and kissed the top of her head. Edward shook Carlisle's hands and then hugged Esme. Emmett decided that it was far too time-consuming to say goodbye to everyone individually and simply threw one of his massive arms up to the air and waved. "Bye! Tell Rose I love you if you see her before I do," Emmett said while walking towards the front door. And like that, Edward, and Dylan were gone. "Ready to shop, ladies?" Alice asked in a funny accent. I was born yesterday." "Ooh, I like her. So, Gianna, how do you feel about Fendi, Prada, Gucci? She asked in the same fake French accent. "I love them. Now, if I could afford them, yeah, I'd be in heaven," I laughed. "Oh, I really like her. Looks like we'll be sharing a closet," she laughed. "Alright, can we go now? I'm kind of hungry," Jacob interrupted. "Gianna, why don't you go invite Marcy?" Bella asked. "I would, but I highly doubt Carl will let her near me, though that I'm not speaking to her," I said. "Why would you not be speaking to your mother?" Esme asked. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Just wait for that. Okay. "She kept me away from Charlie by telling him that I was dead, so I refused to talk to her," I explained. "Goodness," Esme said. She seemed genuinely shocked. "He would have loved you, you know," Bella said. "I wish I could have met him," I said with a sigh. "He'll always be with the both of you, remember that, Gianna," Carlisle said. "I guess you're right," I followed. I looked up and smiled and added, "Let's shop, ladies." Alice chuckled. She walked over me and put her hand around my shoulder. "This is going to be the beginning of a beautiful relationship." "Did I say shop? I meant ship," Alice giggled. We walked over to Bella's car, a sexy black Lexus.